Well, welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since I've been in the wood shop turning anything. Life has been busy on my end. I think you'll be seeing some of the footage of what I've been working on. But Hurricane Helene came in and brought us some rain. We've had a drought this summer, so we got a couple inches of rain, which we appreciated. And what happened was overcast for like several days. And these mushrooms popped up, so it kind of motivated me to get out in the wood shop and make some mushrooms. I picked a few before I mowed the yard just so I could use those shapes to kind of have some reference to make something that looks a little natural to what was actually growing out in my yard. Man, I'm glad we did not get the 30 inches that some of the people in Tennessee, North Carolina got. Prayers with those people. It's devastating down there. So uh, glad I got a little bit of rain, but glad we didn't get what they did. It's horrifying seeing what the damage is down there. Um, just use whatever tool you want there. You can use a skew. I used a detail gouge to kind of do the top of this mushroom. And then I'm just kind of marking where I want the stem to end up here. And then I grabbed a parting tool or a skew chisel here, but this really isn't the best tool because it's easy, can start catching there if you go in too far. So use whatever tool you want here to remove a lot of mass. I end up not liking that, so I'm going to grab a batter. It's like a 1/4 inch parting tool. And this is a good tool to use just to get rid of a lot of mass. You could use one of those carbide scrapers here if you want, especially those square shaped ones, just to remove a lot of mass. You can even use your detail gouge. I mean, you can also use a bowl gouge here, but like I've told you in some of the other videos, you need to be careful to make sure that the wing of that bowl gouge doesn't hit the end grain. I'll show you. This is a detail gouge, but I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. So right there, you don't want to go too far because that wing would hit the end grain, which would be the bottom of that mushroom top, and that would just catch and blow your piece apart. So be careful if you do use a bowl gouge because they're very aggressive and it's kind of easy to overshoot and get that wing into the end grain. So we're going to make 3 mushrooms today. You could make as many as you want, make them different sizes, different shapes, and then we're going to put them on a base. And I've never done this, but it's going to look pretty cool. And I have a little teeny burl that a kid gave me, a friend of mine's kid gave me, and I thought it was a good candidate for this project. Around the house, we've been pretty busy. My kids are getting older, so my son's doing the college thing, trying to decide if he's going to college or going to trade school or what he's going to do for his career. And I've got all 4 kids that are taking some like college credit plus classes, and so our schedule normally is very free, and right now it's very busy. So it's kind of an odd thing for us not to have just free time to take vacation whenever we want, because we've homeschooled our 4 kids. So normally we're very flexible. Here I've got a drill bit, and I'm using the calipers there so that I can make sure that this base fits the drill bit diameter. So when I drill the hole to mount these mushrooms, that will be a nice tight fit that I can glue into the base. So that's what I'm doing there, and just using a parting tool, and then you'll put your calipers in there and just get it close. It don't have to be exact, but get it close. And then I'll put a little bit of wood glue, or you could use some super glue if you want, or something like that. A little bit of sanding here, and this one I'll cut off with a saw and it'll be done. And we're going to repeat this process. So just grab a different log, different species of wood if you want, different diameter of wood. It's really up to you. This project, you could actually make several mushrooms and then just pick the mushrooms that you think go well together on the base. You know what I mean? So you could make 15 mushrooms, and then you could do several of these and glue them into bases and make a nice little project. So the other thing that's been keeping me busy this summer, I started in June. I think I told you in some other videos, I am making a pavilion, so up by our lake. And the whole reason that I wanted to do that was I'm making I always wanted one of those brick ovens for brick oven pizzas, and we're in a cold climate here, so I need that out of the weather. So I decided to build a pavilion to put that under. So I'm not doing the brick oven this year, but we did pour concrete, and we about have the pavilion finished. So I will be providing some videos showing that process. We did that as a family, and I did all of it, pretty much just us by ourselves. And that just shows you that if you in life in general, right? What's the old saying? Inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. That doesn't work in the metric system. I don't know how you would come up with something with centimeters and meters, but that rhymes like that. But it's a good example, on that pavilion. I just worked a few hours a day sometimes, and you add that up over a couple months, and you can get a big project done by not working that hard. So just in life, sometimes we get overwhelmed if we try to get everything done all at once, and we think, man, this I can't ever do this. But if you break it down into many small steps, it's very achievable. So here you can see how I kind of undercut this mushroom. That's kind of a more difficult thing to do, but I used that detail gouge and kind of went up in there and give it a little undercut scoop. It's a little more advanced. It's hard to get that angle, but um, you can do that with a detail gouge pretty easy. You can even use a bowl gouge to do that. And then I'm using this detail gouge because I'm very confident with this tool. For me to get other tools in here, you do have a tight window because you're working in this void where you have the big mushroom out on the head there, and then you've got your chuck, and so your handle does come in contact depending on what tool you're using. So this detail gouge really works well for me, and I can really finesse this with all of these mushrooms, um, or any spindle work that you're making. One technique is you want to make sure that you get the end, the piece that's farthest away from the chuck. You want to get that as finished as possible, sanded, before you work on making this stem small. Because if you went out now, where I have this, and you went out and tried to, you know, fine tune the head of this mushroom, that stem is so fragile now, or so small, that you actually would get some flex. And so you want to make sure you finish your project and then work your way towards the chuck. And that way, you get it finished while you still have all kinds of mass left back towards the chuck, so that you don't get the wood flexing at all as you're rubbing the bevel with your tools. So here's two down. We'll cut that off with a saw. And then we'll put our third one in. This here is a scrap piece of wood that I must have been practicing with, or maybe I tried to make a snowman and didn't like how it was going to turn out. So it's just a scrap piece of wood. It's a smaller piece and a little bit far away from the chuck, so that makes that a little more difficult. Of course, you could always cut this off and mount it closer to the chuck, but I'll probably use this to make a few mushrooms or something. So I'm making a smaller one here. And these, of course, all have different shapes, and this is all up to your imagination. And, don't be scared to try different shapes. And if it doesn't turn out, really, you're spending, if you get good at this, you're spending 15 minutes probably per mushroom or something like that. So, if you mess one up, it's not the end of the world. And if you end up turning one and you turn it a shape and you don't like the shape when it's done, like I said, it's 15 minutes. It's not the end of the world. And every time that you are turning, you are getting some good practice. So each one of these passes is good practice. I've started doing some dovetail work. You've seen some of those videos, some non-lathe woodwork. So really, this channel I'm doing trying to put on here what I've been working on in real life that I have time to work on. So this winter I'll probably be doing a lot more wood turning. Uh, I think I've told you before, I don't do a lot of turning in the summer months just because I have a farm and have so many other activities and yard work and just things to keep my time occupied. So you'll probably see some more wood turning videos here as we enter the winter months in southern Ohio. But if you got any video ideas, any content that you would like to see, if you ever have any questions, um, just just let me know, and I would be glad to try to provide a specific video that would help you with a concept, wood turning, or any kind of woodworking that you have. So just comment on the video if you've got anything, any suggestions. I'd be glad to put that together. Always like to let you know that I am active. Try to answer every one of your comments. I appreciate you being engaged and commenting on the videos. And even if it's constructive criticism, I welcome that too. So I think we sometimes, best way to get better is if we have people to tell us, hey, there's a better way to do this. You can improve. And we have to not be so proud that we would not welcome some feedback to help us be better at a craft, so and also just better individual in general. So here's the last mushroom. I'm going to cut that off. Then you'll see this little burl. It's a little burl. Probably couldn't make anything out of this, so I've had this around the shop, and I thought, hey, this little burl looks like a piece of dirt, a mound of dirt or something, so I think I'll make a few mushrooms and I'll mount those in there. So here it's just, I'm trying to eye what would look good with each of these mushrooms, where I would place them. So they're all different sizes. I've got a taller one, a mid-range one, and a short one. So just kind of putting these in here, and that's kind of what I come up with. This is up to your imagination. I'm sure several different locations would have worked, but here's what I came up with. And I tell you, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Let me know what you think about this little project. I think I'm going to come up with some different bases for you to try too. Thanks a lot.